Now let's play with that roundness a little bit in a spin, because that same frame that I use for going forward, I need that same frame for a spin. Walk him a little bit. While I'm walking, I'm going to reinforce rounding his back, reinforce the position that I want. Now when I get ready to ask him to spin, basically I'm just going to open my inside leg, which right here, that's going to be my right leg, and look around and cluck. I want to get him soft, shoulder elevated. I'm going to go ahead and hold him up for this time. Open my leg. And walk back into my circle. Now I'll do the same thing with my hand down so you can see the difference. See how much more rounded he is with my hand up. With my hand down, that spin's going to be a little bit flatter. And watch the difference in his front feet. I'll lower my hand. And leave. You see the difference in his footfall in that spin. What I need, the footfall that I got when my hand was up holding him round, but I need that footfall with my hand down. As I do this exercise and get his back stronger, get his hips more engaged, I'll get that. This is all from the little bit of time that he had off. But the other part of that is, I don't believe you can keep a horse peaked out all the time. I think their mind needs a little bit of a break, and it's okay to have to go back and do a little bit of fitness work. It's not a big deal. I would rather have to go back and work on some fitness than run into mental issues because I tried to keep that horse peaked out too long. And we'll walk out. I'm not going to talk much while I'm spinning because the talk kind of interferes with him. He'll be looking for that whoa when I'm talking and spinning. But watch my hands and watch my legs and watch how the quality of his spin changes depending on what my hands and legs do. Let's step into it again. That was a really good example. When I had him up, bridled, and holding him, the footfall was a lot better. When I put my hand down and turned him loose, footfall wasn't as good. Just consistency, building them muscles up. And you might ask, all I do is trail ride, why do I need to keep my horse rounded and bridled up? It's a good question. The process of keeping your horse rounded and his weight shifted on his back end is going to give you a whole lot less risk of soreness in his shoulders, in his back, and his front feet. When you have the horse he's already working 60% on his front feet, and I've seen some horses that'll even get more weight on the front feet, I believe that leads to a lot of front feet problems, all kinds of soreness issues, soft tissue soreness, maybe even into some bone structure soreness if they're always working on the front feet. If you get them more balanced, more rounded, if you think of an arch, like an arch is a lot more stronger. If you think of an arch, it's a lot stronger than a flat line. that arched back can support a lot more weight, and he can do his job a lot better with his body supporting that weight better. All right, let's step around to the left. He feels a little bit like he's in a little bit different frame this way. He feels like his back is up better this way without me helping him as much. And if you remember right, he loped better left without me helping him as much. So we're going to ask him to step around and see what happens. Open my left leg, look around and smooch. And walk out. That wasn't too bad. That was definitely better than it was to the right. If you noticed, I touched him one time in the hip. Let's talk about that if you work a spin. And it applies to you in a lot of ways other than a spin. So when he was starting to lose his momentum in the spin, whoa. He was starting to lose his momentum in his front end stepping around. I did not put my spur here at the shoulders to ask him to step around more. I touched him back here in the hip. The reason I did that is if I get more engagement, more push in the back is going to push the front end around. If I ask the shoulders to step across, I can get that shoulder movement, but if I don't have the back pushing the front end, he's not going to be able to hold that lateral movement. I'll show you again what I'm talking about. Your engagement always comes from the back end. I did a video just recently about when a horse is speeding up and you're not asking, your problem is in the back end. You need the back end engaged. That's the same thing. You have to get the back end engaged to get correct movement. So let's ask him to step around again. Not going to do much with my hand unless he loses his frame. Open my left leg, look around and smooch. Watch my right leg. Whoop. See, when I touched with the right leg, all I did was touch. He started stepping faster in the front. He stepped faster in the front because I got better engagement in the back. Good boy. So even though I am working all of these maneuvers, this roundness, the spin, I'll work the stop here in just a minute. Even though I'm working all of this with the intention of getting him fit to show, it doesn't make a difference if I'm getting him fit to show or if I'm getting him fit to go on a 20-mile trail ride. Doesn't make any difference. The horse still needs to be fit. He still needs to use his body in the same correct way. If you have your horse's body fit and he's using it correctly, you have a whole lot less chance of him getting sore on a 20-mile trail ride than you do if he's using his body incorrectly. Okay, so let's work the stop just a little bit. I did another video talking about 3 ways to stop a horse. Since I'm working on fitness, I'm going to work on the 3 ways individually. I'll take a minute here just to show you what those are, and then we're going to lope off and work them a little bit. So of course, the first way to stop a horse that we all go to first is pulling on the reins. That's all pretty common. We all know that one. I will still pull on the reins with him. But what the other 2 ways to stop is to say the word and use my body. So I'll do that, each of those once. Whoa, good boy. And you notice with him, as soon as I said the word, he stopped immediately. The horse that I did the video on earlier, when I'd say the word, it'd take her about 2 or 3 steps. That is only because this horse is further along than that horse. That's all that means. This is a little bit more advanced horse. So now this time I'll seat, Now, it's going to be different from a standpoint of, say, an English rider or even a person that does not do reining. I do reining, we do working cow horse on him. I use a lot more exaggerated leg, because if I'm running a cow wide open down the fence, or if I'm doing my reining pattern wide open and I'm asking for a big stop, I need my feet in front of me to help keep me in position to ride that stop. So I use a lot more exaggerated leg, but that doesn't mean you have to get the job done. Good boy. With him, like I said, he's a more advanced horse. I want him to back when my feet are forward. When I get my feet forward, I want him to suck back. I use that for several different things when we're showing. The other thing that does, watch when I push my feet forward, he's going to get his head down, he's going to get his hips rounded up underneath him. He's not only going to back, but he's going to back fairly correctly. Good boy. Good boy. Okay, so I'm going to lope around a little bit. We'll play with the stop. We'll play with getting him stopped correctly. I'll stop him big a time or two, and then I'll make a couple of short stops on him, a couple of small stops. Getting his head up a little bit. What's happening? His head is coming up. He's inverting his back a little bit. Come around again. Really want him to keep his head down. Doesn't have to be down between his feet, but I do want it to not elevate. This is generally where his natural position is. All I want is natural position. I don't want more. Round up. Lift and round. Come around, we'll do it again. While I'm working this, if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, I've tried to arrange all my videos by horse name. There's a playlist for each horse. I'm not sure that I got them all. I have quite a few videos. That way you can kind of follow the progress of each horse. You can see the playlist and see where the horse started and what the horse ended up getting to. Not sure I have all the videos put in the correct playlist. Still working on that. But it'd be pretty interesting to pull up a horse like Blue or Ray Ray and see a video from when I was first starting working with them all the way through some of their more advanced stuff. Now I'll ask him to stop easy. Whoa. So that stop I just did, you saw me push my feet forward, you saw me say the word. Typically when I'm showing reining and I'm doing a rundown to stop, that's the maneuvers that I do. That's the cues that I give. I'll say whoa and I'll use my feet. I need to use my feet to keep me in position. I'll say whoa to help the horse. I don't pull because the horse knows what position he needs his body in to get the job done. So I'm going to stay out of his mouth, I'm going to stay out of his way, let him use his body the way he needs to use it to get stopped correctly. I don't stop a horse a lot with a lot of effort. We do stop enough to keep the muscles built up, to keep the muscle strong. Horse has to use his back end to hold it in the ground to stay stopped. So we need to stop enough so that he exercises those muscles. But we don't want to stop so much at such a high degree of difficulty, such a high speed, that he starts blowing his hocks out. That's a balance right there that you have to achieve. And it doesn't matter what you're doing. You can be doing sliding stops like I'm doing, or a barrel horse going around barrels or a jumping horse going over jumps. You need to practice it enough, especially at a lower level, lower degree of difficulty, to get the maneuver taught and to keep the maneuver toned up, muscles toned up, but not all the time at a high level to the point where you end up creating muscle and joint problems and also mental problems. So let's lope off again. Shoulder's going to the left a little bit. I'm going to pick the shoulder up. Everything that we do, I'm going to keep encouraging correctness. I'll go back and forth from one-handed to two-handed. Naturally, we want to show one-handed. I'm going to try to fix it one-handed, but if I need to, I'll fix it two-handed. I'm going to do another loop. I'll ask for this next stop with more effort, and then I'll go back. Oh, let's see his head coming up, getting back round. I'll ask for the next stop with more effort, and then I'm going to go back and school it again slower. But it has to be correct. Square my end, get this body straight. Whoa. Good boy. Always going to sit here after he stops. I want him to expect that a stop is coming and a rest is coming at the end of a stop, especially a big stop. When we're showing, if we're showing reining, a rollback is going to come. If we're showing cow horse, a spin will come, except the last maneuver is usually a backup. I want to make sure that anytime we do a stop, especially a little bit bigger stop, I really encourage that stand. And I'm always going to walk him afterwards. I want this relaxed attitude that he's given me on a loose rein after a big maneuver that he used a little bit of effort. I need him to learn to control his energy, control his adrenaline. He kind of lost his frame there. I'll just frame him back up and get soft again. Always pay attention to your horse's frame. By frame, I mean the roundness of the body, how he's using his body. I'll lope off one more time, and I'll do an easier stop. And let's see if he will lope down easy and stop easy. I only want him to give me the amount of effort that I ask him to give me. I don't want the horse to always run down hard, stop hard. This is a good time to bring up something that I've never talked about on video. When we're showing a horse, for every one time that we show to score high in wind, we're going to show another time that's just average degree of difficulty, go in, marker 70, all correct, no added degree of difficulty. We're going to show a third time that third time is go in, pull him to a stop, school him, do whatever we need to do to make sure that he is correct. If he's inverting his body, we're going to two-hand, do whatever we have to do, even if we blow the class, to make that correct. The whole point of that is the horse never knows when he's being shown. He never knows when he's being schooled. I might go in and start off like I want going to marker 74 and win the class, and then as soon as he loses his frame, pick him up two-handed and zero the class, and then go on and finish schooling. It's really important that you show smart and use some schooling runs, use some paid warm-ups, use some low-level shows. You might have a horse that you're showing and competing at a really high level. Taking to some local shows, just get him in the pen in a situation where you're paying $20 or $10 for a class that you don't mind blowing that that class to school him and get him right. You'd much rather school him at a $10 or $20 class than a $150 class. So now I walked him a little bit. I wanted to make sure I gave him a chance to bring his energy down. I did a video about controlling a horse's energy. I'll put a link to that video up here. I got his energy down. Let's lope off and see what we get. Asking the bridle up, I want to make sure I have his mind. Make a circle right here. And then I'm going to do an easy lope down and stop. Lost his frame, let's fix his frame. And we're going to stop. Whoa. He waited for me to tell him to go faster. He didn't take over and go faster on his own like he did this stop here. So I'll lope off and let's circle to the right. We'll lope down and we'll do another stop. If you want to watch some more videos of Hank, I'll put a link up here. You can watch the playlist of his training videos. And until next time, thank you for watching. Whoa.